What are you drinking? 'Cause I'm already drunk. Hi, the bar is open. What are you drinking? 'Cause I'm already drunk. And I'm on my way to getting trashed over this whole West and Amanda drama. So let's get right back into it. And I forgot to say in the previous video that we ended with episode 5. So go grab your cocktails, sit back and chill. And here is the Summer House Season 10 recap part 2. Let's go. Okay, so this is the start of episode 6, and we left off with Jesse and Sierra. We're having a conversation about the situation with Jesse going to Wes and asking him for permission to jokingly make out with Sierra. And so obviously that didn't go over well, but they talked about it and they made up with a little huggy hug. And then Jesse goes back into the room that he shares with Wes. And Wes was like, how did it go, man? And Jesse was like, not too good, not too good. Yeah, strike out, big time. And then here's Jesse in his confessional, finally realizing and admitting to the fact that he knows now that Sierra does not want to date casually, okay? And that he does like her, but that he just wanted to kind of have some fun, aka date casually. And so that's not going to happen. Oh, well, sorry, Jesse. Oh, wow. Okay. This is the best they've ever looked. I mean, Kyle looks good and Amanda looks freaking amazing. Oh my God. What's with the yellow, huh? She's always, she likes her yellow, doesn't she? Well, listen, she looks really good, okay? I like her hair, you know, because she never really wears her hair down or anything like that. And it looks like she kind of has a little bit of a bang going. So anyway, yeah, they look really good here, you know? Oh, well. And why are they so dressed up, you ask? Because it's Amanda's 34th birthday. And the rules of the house are that everybody has to get really dressed up, like black tie style. And so here's West helping Jesse out with his tie because Jesse is tall and West is short. And so Jesse had to bend down and you get it. And I guess they hired a chef for Amanda, which was kind of interesting because I guess the theme of the birthday was, if there was one, was that kids meal, I guess. So like tater tots and mac and cheese, and like it was served on like these little like luncheon kid plates, like something you would get out of a cafeteria when you were like 5 or 6 years old. So I thought that was cute and interesting and weird and strange and stupid, but, you know, okay, you know, given that they're dressed the way that they are, you know, and just, okay, we're big kids, but we're dressed like adults. Okay. And then we find out that actually this tux that Kyle is wearing was the one that he wore at their wedding. Oh, I thought that was really sweet, you know, but... Oh, Kyle, I want to feel bad for you. I do. I really do. And I do feel bad for you. But the thing is that you both played a part in the destruction of your marriage, okay? I'm sorry. You know, you both played a part. It's just that right now, Amanda is playing a bigger part. Okay? And so cheers to Amanda's birthday. I'm laughing because once again, Amanda's sitting next to West. And then her husband is on the other side. And so ding, there's another one. And then what bad timing. Jesse, you are a fool once again, because now Jesse decides to bring up the fact that Kyle did not invest in Carl's soft bar business. I mean, it's Amanda's birthday. Like, why would you... anyway. And then Amanda makes things even more awkward when she says, you didn't invest in Carl's bar business? And as if she didn't know. I mean, come on, you know, I understand that they're not together very often, but you still live together and you're still married. You're gonna tell me that you didn't know that Kyle didn't invest in Carl's business? Okay. And then in this instance, I do feel bad for Kyle because I don't think that his finance should be put on Front Street, right? And so, Jesse, that was not cool, man. Not cool, Jesse. And then there's a long pause and an awkward silence, but that's quickly broken by Amanda saying, well, you know what? Why don't we go around the table and people can say something nice about me for my birthday? Which is so strange. And then even stranger, Wes goes first. Okay, not Kyle. All right, sure, we'll go with it. And all he really says was that, he's proud of her and all her accomplishments, which, by the way, he doesn't really list any, but he says he's proud of her. And then Ben jumps right in and has something to say, which I thought was interesting. And he says, you can only judge a person by their eyes and their smile. And Amanda has really beautiful eyes, and she has a nice smile. And then good old Bailey chimes in, and she's like, yeah, because that's why you want to fuck her. And Mia's like, what the fuck is going on in this house? What did I get myself into? And then Amanda's like, oh my God, Bailey. Like, why would you say that? Like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, just because we went skinny dipping that one time, it's just like, I know he wants to fuck me, but why would you say that? No, I'm just kidding. And then Ben corrects him. He said, no, that's not what I meant. And, I just meant to say she was like a really good person and blah, blah, blah. Okay, Ben, it's messed up. Like, don't even try. It's done. It's whatever. You know what I mean? Just move on. But instead, everybody starts clapping. And, what else are you going to do? And then look at Wes. Yeah, he doesn't look too happy. And then it's Kyle's turn to say a few words, but instead he's like, I don't want to say it, I want to show it. So he comes back with a gift, and that gift is a Cartier watch. And as we all know, that is expensive. And so everybody cheers Kyle on, and they're like, good job, buddy, good job. Yeah, man, you're the best, Kyle. Yeah, all right, Kyle. And then tell me, why in the hell is West screaming at the top of his lungs? Okay, you're rooting and you're cheering for the girl that you're banging's husband's gift on her birthday. Oh, it's just so fucking weird. But finally, Kyle gets a kiss from his wife. So, it was worth it. And here's the beautiful watch, and she doesn't deserve it. She's a cheater now. Or does she? Because, she put up with Kyle's cheating in the past, or present, or, I don't even know. It's all so messed up, guys. And so it's after dinner, and they're all just standing around, and Ben's still upset about the comment. And he's like, can you believe that, guys? I can't believe Bailey accused me of wanting to sleep with my mate's missus. And then Kyle comes into the room to, DJ or whatever, and they all have a good laugh about it. And I just had to put this in here because it was freaking diabolical.
He goes, I can't believe you're going to say that I would try my mate's missus.
Oh, that's good.
Ding, there's another one. Yeah. And then they have a good laugh about it until they're on the floor. And keep laughing, West, because you're next. Yeah, the joke's on you, bud. And then Ben goes upstairs to check on Bailey because he heard she was crying and quite emotional. And so he tries to ask her questions and try and figure out why the hell she made that comment. And she basically tells him, that he started it because he was joking with Amanda about them skinny dipping in the pool in Italy. So she thought that she had free range, I guess. But she didn't. And he was very upset. And so, they didn't really come to an understanding, and he walks out. And then Bailey gets even more upset and she starts crying. And so the girls come in to console her. And you know what? In fairness, Bailey, I mean, look, you shouldn't have made that comment. That's so stupid. It's the girl's freaking birthday dinner party. You know what I'm saying? You don't say out loud that he wants to fuck her, even if you're thinking it. Okay? And so that's on you. But I definitely don't like the way that he was talking to her. And I don't like the way that he handled the situation. I mean, you don't yell at a girl who's crying. Freaking weirdo. But it's still Amanda's birthday, and the night is still young. And so they all go out except for Bailey, and they end up going to some club in the Hamptons. And skirt. Did you catch it? I said, did you catch it? Uh-huh. Guys, this might be one of the biggest breadcrumbs of all, okay? All right, so in case you missed it, I'm going to play it back in slow motion because this happens right in front of Sierra's face. Uh-huh. Check it out. And so after watching this several times and in slow motion, in case you didn't see what happened was Wes kind of went in for a kiss, kind of like, and then he said no, like with his finger, and he put his finger over her lips, like as if to say, or something like that. Okay? Yeah. Right in front of Sierra's face. So ding, 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 ding. Dong, there's another one. And then they get back to the house, and Wes is just on a roll, man. He is just... So he sits on top of Sierra, because according to Sierra, that's what he does when he has a crush on somebody, apparently, because he did that to her before when they were dating or something like that. So, yeah, this is just very passive-aggressive for me. And then, of course, he's doing it in front of Jesse to kind of, like, pee on his territory, shall I say. I mean, this is like so kindergarten, hence the theme of the party, I think. And then later on, things are kind of winding down, and so Kyle and West are just chilling and talking. And Kyle says to Wes, he goes, hey, you know, things are kind of picking up with you and Sierra. That was pretty awesome tonight. You know, you guys were flirting and everything. Yeah. Little does Kyle know, yeah, he's not really flirting with Sierra. He's banging your wife. Yeah. And then speaking of the wife, here's a little cuddle because she's happy that he got her the watch. And so she says thank you and that she's very appreciative. And then it's the next day, and they all go to Wolfer's Estate, which is one of the only 2 vineyards in the Hamptons. But it's a nice one. It's pretty. And so they all make a trip there. And then Sierra and Ben just take a little walk. And Sierra kind of asks Ben, like, what's his single status or what's his dating life? What's going on? And so he tells her that he hasn't been in a relationship in a minute. And actually, the last relationship he was in was with this girl named Sabrina, who we come to find out that he actually was dating the whole time. But anyway, and he says that I guess she really touched his heart. But he was kind of getting afraid that things were going a little too fast too soon. So he ended things. As men do, apparently. Or some men. I shouldn't say all men. And so here's a picture of the girl that he was dating, in quotations, last spring. But we now come to find out that her name was Sabrina. Or is Sabrina. Sorry. And they're still dating, by the way. And so here's Ben in his confessional, and he's basically explaining the situation about how they dated for a little bit last spring, apparently, and that, you know, he didn't really know where things were going and what he wanted to do with his life, so he broke things off. But now we find out at the reunion that they were actually dating the whole time, and that he never really broke things off, or well, at least according to her. And that's the end of episode 6. And so we go into episode 7, where they're back from the vineyard, and it's later on that night, and they're just hanging out, and Ben's like, so, like, how do you feel about Sierra? I see that you guys have been flirting. Are you becoming back friends, or what's going on? And Wes pauses for a minute, of course, and then he says, yeah, you know, I care about her. And Ben's like, well, have you ever said that to her, mate? And he's just like, I'll speak for him, okay? He doesn't really like Sierra, okay? He just wants to be cool with her. So he's going to keep going on with this ridiculous storyline that there's something between them. But instead of like not adding fuel to the fire, he adds fuel to the fire by continuously flirting with her. And then, yeah, let's just kick it up a notch and play spin the bottle. And then at some point it lands on Amanda, and then she has to get up and kiss her husband. Has to, right? It shouldn't be like that. But anyway, they have this cute little kiss. Well, actually, it's kind of a hot and steamy kiss. So much so that Kyle is just over the moon. Yeah, good for Kyle. Finally, he gets some action. And then Weirdo West over here gets jealous and then starts playing footsie with Sierra. And this is directly after Kyle and Amanda kissed, right? But Sierra doesn't know that. But even still, she clocks the weirdness of it all, right? Hence Weirdo West. Oh, yeah. And then he's going to kick it up a notch up to Strange. And he moves in. He moves his chair next to Sierra, right? And then he starts touching her. And she even like flinches a little bit. And then Amanda is stopped dead in her tracks, right? Because she sees this, of course. And Sierra's like, what are you doing? What is going on? Look at Jesse. He's like, oh, so you're just going to touch her right in front of me? Oh, is that what you're going to do? Okay. And then Wes does another thing that's strange. I mean, they're just racking up and racking up and racking up and racking up. Here you go. You'll just watch it.
I want this too, please. I don't know what's happening here, but
I'll tell you what's going on, Sierra. Wes is a psycho. Okay? Yeah. And then speaking of another psycho, no, I'm just kidding. Ben goes in for a second attempt, and this time he apologizes for the way he was speaking to her, and so him and Bailey make up. And then it's the next morning, and they're getting ready to leave the house to go back to the city. And Amanda wants to take a shower. And Kyle's like, oh, well, I'll take a shower with you, to save time. And, hey, why not? You are my wife. And Amanda's like, no, that's okay. I'll shower first, then you can shower. And he's like, well, why not? I'll just shower with you. And then she's like, no, I don't want to shower with you. Don't. Sorry, Kyle. And then it gets more awkward because Kyle goes and takes a shower, and then Amanda goes and crawls into bed with Sierra. And they're talking about the night before and how West was really being flirty with Sierra and doing the whole footsie thing. And Amanda was like, what do you think that was about? And have you guys been like flirting a lot lately, or has that been like a thing? Are you really asking her that, Amanda? Are you inquiring about yourself? You want to know what your man has been doing when you're not around? This is so crazy. And then here's Wes in his confessional giving a response because the producers are asking him, like, what's up with all the flirting and what's going on? Is he back into her or what's up? And then, of course, he gives kind of like a remedial answer. He's like, of course, there's always going to be a little something between me and Sierra. And, she's so pretty and all that. And how could I not? And, but I don't know where she stands. And, he's saying that he never had like a real conversation with her. And so he doesn't know what she thinks. And you know what? I'm just going to call it like it is. Okay, here we go. I don't think that West was ever into Sierra, right? Obviously, he always kind of had his eyes set on Amanda, I think. Or I don't know when he had his eyes set on Amanda, but I'm just going to say this, okay? I think that he's stating the obvious because it's true and it's obvious that Sierra is a beautiful, attractive woman, right? We can all see that. But obviously there's more than just looks, right? You have to be into a person and actually be attracted to someone. And it is possible to not be attracted to someone even though they're beautiful, right? And so I think that I think West used this as a storyline, when he first came on the show and throughout since he's been on the show. He's kind of used this, him being into Sierra storyline, but it didn't really work because he's not really into her, okay? And then he made a public fool out of her, all right? And now he's banging Amanda. So there you go. And here's a quick shot of Bailey giving a call to Carl, asking him out for a coffee date. Which, hey, it's 2026, right? It's like if the girl wants to ask the guy out on a date, why not? And you know what? Bailey's bold. Bold Bailey. That's what we're going to call her. That's what I'm calling her, right? Is because she's very straightforward. And you know what? I appreciate it. It's refreshing. Or, just to play devil's advocate, what if she's just doing this to confirm her place on the show? You know what I mean? Because maybe she's just trying to fill out all the guys to see where she can get in on the show. Because so far I'm seeing a lot more of Bailey than I am of Levi. Just saying. And here's some more of the newbies, KJ and Dara, going on another date where they're boxing or something. Okay. And Dara, if you play your cards right, you might be able to really get on the show, right? And be a cast member and maybe replace Levi. Sorry, Levi. And then guess what these two are talking about? Just guess. Guess. I bet you'll never guess what they're talking about. Yeah. His DJing career. Yeah, once again, Amanda's expressing to Kyle that it's not going to work out if he's traveling all the time and DJing, because what the DJing means is that he's also going to be drinking. And when he's drinking, he gets very loose. He can't handle his liquor. And he starts getting flirty with fans and starts making out with them and then staying at their house. But we'll get into that later. And so Amanda basically gives him an ultimatum. She's like, listen, if you're going to do this DJ thing, it's not going to work out between us, basically is what she says. She doesn't exactly say those words, but that's what she says. And so she asks him, is this what you're going to do? And Kyle just kind of has a moment. And then he's like, yeah. Like, I love DJing and everything, so yeah. So that's it. I mean, it sounds like Kyle has made his choice. And this might be the breaking point for Kyle and Amanda. But no, it's not, because then they made a whole nother show called In the City. Oh, bravo. Bravo. Bravo, fucking bravo. Okay, and then here's Carl going on his date with Bailey, and so this was kind of awkward because, yeah, there's just no chemistry here. But it was cute, and so I think they were just kind of feeling each other out and seeing if maybe this could work, and it's not going to, no. Okay, and there's also an age gap. And then just quickly, here's Carl in his confession being asked about the date. And Carl's like, hey, yeah, there's an age gap, but, I'm down for it. Why not? Of course, Carl, you're always down to bring out the fuckboy whenever needed, right? But no, Carl is older now and more mature, and he's looking for something more serious, so I don't think Bailey is it. And I don't think it's the same for Bailey. Yeah, I think Bailey would go for it. Sorry, Bailey. And so the gang is back for the weekend, and the girls are just kind of sitting around talking about their weekly events. And as it turns out, Amanda and Lindsay got together over the week, and Amanda had told Lindsay what happened with Sierra and West, and how he was very handsy with her and playing footsie and flirty and touching her hair and all this shit. And so Mia... poor Mia. She has a theory, and her theory is that she thinks that West is secretly in love with her. Mia. Now, why would you say some dumb shit like that? If only you knew, and I know she's a new girl and she's new to the group and everything, but it's like you still are friends with Sierra, so you know enough to know that that's not fucking true. And of course, Amanda is uncomfortable, right? And then she says that for anything to happen between her and West, that West would have to change a few things and that he would actually have to profess his love for her. How ironic. And then Sierra's just like, well, you know what? I feel like if he was in love with me, he wouldn't say it. So obviously she's saying that he's not going to tell her and he's not going to profess it. And my theory, he's not going to do that because he's not in love with her. That's why. And then Wes in his confessional kind of explains the whole weird footsie flirty thing.
How are you?
Great.
Good. Do I need to apologize for the drunk back rub? Honestly, not because it was like invasive, but I just like make stuff weirder. Was it f***ing cringe and gross and yuck? It's the worst thing you could ever be. And I don't know, you know? There's no worse feeling than not knowing if you were cringe.
Of course you were cringe, West, okay? Everybody can see that. Everybody knows that, all right? So just so you know, you're cringe all the time, okay? Ew. So then it's nighttime and they all go out to dinner at this place called Kasaki Sushi in Montauk, which is now closed. So this place is no longer. And they're at dinner and you can see Kyle is already lit. Yeah, because we kind of know by now the face of a drunk Kyle, right? His face gets all weird and he starts slurring his words. Yeah. And so he says to KJ, he's like, so I've been out of he starts speaking drunkenese. And he's like, I've been out of the loop for a little bit. And like, what's going on with you and Dara? Are you guys like feeling each other or like vibing, as the kids say? And KJ's like, yeah, she's emotionally intelligent. So yeah, vibe check, my man. And that's right, because you got a baddie on your hands there, KJ. Dara is the shit. And he knows it. Yep, she's a good one. She's a keeper. And then Amanda asked Jesse if he has any advice for young KJ. And Jesse says, yeah, maybe take it slow. Because remember, he had that short relationship with Lexi. Yeah, he fell in love with her after 2 days. And that didn't work out for Jesse. So that's why Amanda's saying that. And then she says, and what else, what other advice do you have for KJ? And then this is where Lindsay chimes in and she's like, how about don't use Sierra as collateral? Maybe, huh? And then Lindsay in the group basically jokes that maybe Wes should take some notes. Yeah, maybe. And Ben is like, yeah, don't forget, there's 2 L's in collateral. And then Amanda says, yeah, and another piece of advice is don't talk to the press. And she's saying that because in reference to when West talked to the press about his relationship with Sierra. And then that's when we get back into the whole West and Sierra drama. And just to give you the cliff notes for those who don't know, they're not the true fans, is that, yes, okay, West and Sierra dated each other very briefly 2 summers ago, okay? And what happened is that West wanted to date her casually. Sierra's not that type of girl. She doesn't date casually, right? And so things went south, and then he talked to the press about it, and he said some crazy stuff. I'm not going to get back into all of it, but yeah, he basically discredited her and basically downplayed the relationship and made it seem like it was basically just a fling, okay? And so now we get back into it over dinner, and then Sierra brings up the past, to explain to the newbies and KJ that, last summer, oh, and look, West and Amanda are sitting next to each other. Ding, there's another one. I wonder, do you think this has been going on for several summers? We'll never know. And so this is a picture from last summer when West and Sierra were on the outs, and Sierra brings up the fact that she's like, why did you publish an article reiterating the fact that you don't like me like that? And there's that evil look again, and he's rolling his eyes, and that was back then. And so West starts talking about what happened, and he said that, back then he kind of empathized with the fact that, how things went down with their breakup, I guess you could call it. And so he did a lot of interviews, and he said he was kind of naive, I guess, a little bit, and didn't really know what he was doing. And then look at Amanda. Look at Amanda. See, listen, guys, I have to put this stuff in here, and I know these videos are long, and, everything happens for a reason, because if I had covered this before the scandal, this would have been a totally different commentary, you know what I mean? And I probably would have left a lot of this stuff out. So definitely everything happens for a reason, and so I'm glad that I'm kind of coming in late, because now I get to look back and look at all these little things that we missed, you know what I mean? That was essentially right in front of our face. I mean, and now it's making me think that this has been going on for a while, So Wes continues saying about how he was naive to the public and to the press, and that it wasn't until he saw other people on the cast go through it in the public that he realized, being on the other side of it, that how it can be damaging. And then Sierra perfectly says that, well, that's nice that you finally realized that, West, but it sucks that you had to see other people go through it in order for you to realize. And then look at Amanda's reaction. Getting scared, Amanda? Huh? Are you worried for the future? Because in the future, you're going to be in the press with West. In the press with West. And now it's the present. And you are in the press with West. And so how does it feel? And so then we get into a pretty heavy and uncomfortable conversation about interracial dating. And God bless Sierra for bringing it up, because it's a hard conversation. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it, I think it's the white people's responsibility to stop, to finally acknowledge and stop ignoring the Black experience. I mean, you've been here and we've all been here in America, you know what I mean? And you know what's been going on. So I'm tired of this playing stupid, like, oh, I don't know. Listen, I understand it's not your experience because you're white, but, to say that you don't understand the Black experience entirely is kind of like, come on. Only because you stood by this entire time and watched. Not only have a lot of white people been racist, and racism has always been a thing and still is, it's just like it's your turn now to take acknowledgement and responsibility for your ancestors, okay, and how they've treated the Black race, all right? And so to have these conversations, yeah, they're uncomfortable. Of course they are. But, they need to be had, and especially in the Hamptons when it's always been white people. There's never, and if you do see a Black person, it's usually in the service industry. I hate to say it, it's the same with the Spanish, okay? When you see a Mexican, they're usually serving you, right? It's not like they live in the Hamptons, And so it's always been a thing, And then you're also talking about the rich white people, okay? Because not every white person is rich, all right? So you're talking about the Hamptons, okay? And so anyway, moving on. And so in response, Kyle makes a speech about how, it's basically his responsibility as a white male in American society to acknowledge this, okay, and take responsibility, even though he himself may not be racist. And also, more importantly, he's in the public eye. You know what I mean? So that's why it's his responsibility to let his other fellow white people know that they need to change and do better. And then Amanda comes over to sit by Sierra in support and solidarity, which, good on her. And then Sierra talks a little bit more about it in her confessional, and I'll just let her say it.
The hardest thing with the me and Wes situation is that everyone's always just like, oh, you let a white man play you on national TV, and then it's regardless of how we feel about each other, it's the way that it looks to the entire world. Yeah, I guess if I could help it, I would, but you can't help who you love. You can't help who you are attracted to sometimes.
Aw, Sierra. And then West, for the first time, I guess we see a little bit of emotion come from him. And so, yeah. And then KJ chimes in and starts talking about how, obviously he has a single mom and 2 younger sisters. And he talks a little bit about how his sisters, have dated white men, and, he gets into the interracial dating as well. And then he talks about his father a little bit and how he was kind of a womanizer and how that really messed up his family. And then he starts talking about, being a Black man in America, and what's a little bit about his experience, and talking about how, he has to think 10 steps ahead. He has to think about how he dresses and how he acts, and don't be the angry Black man, and don't wear a hoodie because you look like you're trouble, and you know what I mean? And of course, I know this, we all know this, right? But it has to be said, and it should be said on TV. And so he empathizes with the rest of the cast because he says, listen, I know you might not understand because it's not your experience and you're not in my skin. And then he goes on to say about how he's the first Black man in the cast coming to the house. So, yeah, I think that's important as well. And he says, you guys don't know, little do you guys know, but I've kind of been on edge thinking about how I should act and how I should talk and all that kind of stuff, which really makes me sad, man. It really makes me sad. And I know all about this. And, we can talk about this for hours, really. But I'm glad that they touched upon it in this episode. And then Mia touches upon it because, of course, she can relate. And she also has a brother. So, and she was saying that in her household, how in every black household, that her brother was given the speech that be careful how you conduct yourself, watch yourself. Make sure that, when you're out in the streets that, you don't have a hoodie on and certain things like that. Because if he does, that, the cops could possibly stop him or he could get arrested and be falsely accused and et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, we can talk about this for hours, but just to point out that Mia also contributed to the conversation. And then Amanda kind of wraps it up and ends the conversation by saying that they're all family and that they're all here in support of each other and one another and to lift each other up and stand by each other. And even though it may not be her experience, she's there to stand by and to stand with each other and, as a unit. You know what I mean? And just kind of collaborate experiences and journey on together. And I really want to say something bad about Amanda. But in this moment, I think what she said was really important, and I like what she said. So we're just going to put to the side for a second that she's a lying, cheating bitch, okay? And so they hug it out, and it was beautiful to see, yes. But we can't help what we know now, right? But anyway, that's the end of episode 7. And so now we're going to get into episode 8, and it's after dinner, and they all decide to go out. And yeah, I guess they're having a little twerk off. You know what I'm saying? Look at Lindsay. Get it, Lindsay. Get it, get it, get it. And then just like that, they are back at the house. And it is 12:38 a.m., which is a pretty decent time. That's not too bad, and they are super fucked up, okay? And they are literally rolling in. And KJ is pretty fucked up there. And he looks like he's trying to do like a spinning back kick. Yeah, and he fell flat on his face. And then Kyle gets on the ones and twos there. Yeah, DJ King Kyle. He's got the crown. Hey, maybe that should be his DJ name, huh? King Kyle? Nah. And then everybody makes their way to the dance floor, and they are drunk as hell, having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And then, Oh, wait a minute. Did you catch that? Yeah, let me just slow it down for you in case you missed it. Because the video was so sped up, it's like I almost didn't catch it, you know what I mean? And I'm sure they were so drunk they didn't catch it either. But it looks like Wes and Amanda were almost about to kiss here. And so, ding, there's another one. Is anybody keeping track at this point or counting? Did anybody count? Drop down in the comments if anybody actually was dumb enough to keep score or keep track. Or does anybody have a number count? Yeah, what ding are we on right now? And it is 1:02 a.m. and the party is over. And the only man left standing is Kyle. Of course, as usual, right? He should have invested in, he's a true party boy, you know what I mean? So instead of lover boy, it should have been called party boy, you know what I mean? And he would have made a lot more money and his business wouldn't have been in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I hear his business is doing fine now, so that's fine. So good for him. But I think Party Boy would have been much more on brand for him. All right, but I'm going to leave him alone now to DJ for himself and his two little cutout friends there, Bailey and KJ. Oh, but wait. It looks like a few of them have decided to take the party outside and to the hot tub. And I just want to point out that Wes is sitting next to Amanda. Ding, there's another one. And whoever's keeping track, please keep score in the comments, please. It would be interesting. I'd like to know. I'm just curious. Anyway, so once again, Kyle is left alone because he's turned off the music, and now he can hear them outside. And he's getting jealous because he can hear Amanda laughing and giggling and stuff like that, and he's feeling left out. And so here's Kyle in his confessional, once again talking about how he feels neglected by his wife and he feels left out and jealous and he doesn't understand why she can have fun with everybody else and not with him. Well, Kyle, that's because she's not married to everybody else. I mean, she doesn't have issues with anybody else. She has issues with you. She has to go home to you. Okay? But I get it. Okay? I do. I get it. And I understand the frustration. But Kyle, you created this for yourself. All right? And so really, at the end of the day, you're frustrated with yourself. And that's the real gag of it all, if you really want to break it down and get honest. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. And so Kyle takes his little speaker and tries to move the party outside. And everybody's, or now it's just, I think it's just Sierra, Amanda, and of course West, and Ben, and they're just chatting outside. And so Kyle comes over and starts dancing with his little speaker. And then at some point, he's kind of mumbling drunk underneath his breath. And he's like, you're not supportive. And so Amanda says, what did you say? Did you just say that I'm the most least supportive wife in the world? Question mark. Yeah, which is total bullshit, because if anything, Amanda has been the most supportive wife, okay? She's let Kyle pretty much do whatever the hell he wants. Thus, this is why we're here. And that's a major reason why your marriage is in shambles, okay? And to add more fuel to the fire and just the cherry on top of the sundae, Kyle says, fuck you, and walks back into the house. Yeah. And say it with me now, all together now. Wash, rinse, repeat. And then Kyle goes back inside, back to his DJ booth. And then Ben follows him in to have a chat to see what's going on. And he said, listen, man, I don't know what's going on with your relationship, obviously, but you can't just say fuck you to your wife. You know what I mean? And see, this is why I like reality television. This is where it's positive in a sense. And I know it's weird, but it's like, when they're home, nobody is in their household, we don't know what goes on behind closed door. And for all we know, Amanda could be a nightmare. Kyle could be a nightmare. We don't know, right? But what we do know is what we see, right? And what they keep seeing is that Kyle is getting drunk and he's yelling and screaming at Amanda and cursing at her, where we don't see Amanda doing that. And Amanda is also getting drunk, right? But we don't see her whining and bitching and moaning and moping, and we don't see her cursing Kyle out, Now she's also sleeping with Wes, so she's preoccupied. So maybe she doesn't care that much that she's leaving Kyle out in the cold. But either way, you get what I'm trying to say. And at the same time that Ben is trying to maybe talk a little bit of sense into Kyle, Amanda walks into her bedroom, and guess who follows her? Yeah, West. And so I just want to show this one little clip because obviously this would be too much for me to explain. And all right, just watch it.
You see Amanda talking to me today.
There goes Amanda.
She said funny words to me all night.
Hey, what'd you say to her? Is you saying that? What was so
Not me.
And then here comes West.
I did it get shut down.
Yeah, I'm good.
Objectively, nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Bizarre to me.
Thank you for understanding because, I just.
And so obviously I can't show you the rest of the clip, but I can tell you what they said verbatim, word for word. And so basically Amanda's upset. She walks into the bathroom of their bedroom and Wes follows her in, and you heard a little bit of it. And so then she starts crying, and then, okay, this is what she says next. Well, actually it's West, and he's the first one to talk after she's crying. And so Wes says, that's the first time I've ever seen something where 100% unprovoked. He was just so rude. And then Amanda says, that's tame. That was like a calm version of Kyle. It's just a lot, And then Wes says, yeah. And then Amanda says, I know I'm not perfect, but I've been literally dealing with this for over 10 years. Isn't that crazy? There's a part of me that's this is the best I'm ever going to do. And he loves me so much. And this is he's constantly making excuses. And Wes is no, I know. And then Amanda's it's just stupid. And then she starts crying again. And then look who walks into the room. Kyle. And this isn't awkward at all. No. I mean, can you imagine? Just wait until Wes walks out of the bathroom. And then when he comes out of the bathroom, what's the first thing he says? He's hey, dude, go say sorry to your wife. And of course, Kyle's and also, what are you doing in the bathroom with my wife? No, but that's not what he was thinking at the time, because at the time they were just friends, right? At the time. And then Wes goes on to say, nothing happened outside. And you just walked by. And you said, fuck you, for no reason. And you know what I hate about this is that if if we didn't know what we know, you know what I mean? This would actually help the situation. This would just be a good friend telling his buddy, listen, you know, I'm not in your relationship, but you got to apologize, blah, 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 right? But what sucks about this is that he's banging her. Right? Or at least so we think at this time. And I pretty much think, you know, I'm convinced at this point, okay? There's just too many ding, da, ding, da, ding, da, ding, 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 dong. And by the way, this is another one, right? But yeah, I don't think it's his place. I don't think it's West's place to say this, you know, especially when he knows that he has feelings for Amanda at this point. So it's like, he should have stayed the fuck out of this, right? And so who the fuck is him to tell Kyle what to do in his relationship? Even though it was fucked up for Kyle, obviously, to say fuck you to Amanda. And so Wes leaves, and Kyle goes into the bathroom after his wife. And the reason why I'm showing you all these pictures with the wording is because all of this conversation was pretty much off camera, right? But they're still mic'd up. And then you can't film in the bathroom, you know, for obvious reasons. So it's the only place where they don't have cameras. And so Kyle apologizes to his wife, and he's like, I'm sorry for saying fuck you, but I just feel like you didn't pay me any attention. And then Amanda says, okay. And then Wes says something in his confessional, which I'm not going to show, but he basically just says that the only reason why he got involved and the reason why he's involved with the whole Kyle and Amanda drama is because they all live together or some bullshit like that. Yeah, right. And so anyway, I have to show you one more little clip. And I'm sorry, guys, I have to put all of this in here because this is all part of the breadcrumbs. You know what I mean? And so we have to see how we got here. And so I'm going to show another little clip because right after Kyle just finished apologizing to Amanda, and granted he is drunk, they get right back into it. Here.
When we're all out, would you expect me to be hanging out with everyone?
Yeah, like instead of you hanging out with every one of my friends, maybe just hanging out with me.
So you want me to hang out with you while you're hanging out with all the random people? That's what you'd
I'm
rather.
only hanging out with strangers because you like literally ignore me.
No, that's not what you just said.
I'm letting you know how it is.
Okay, go.
You dumbass bitch.
Yes, I'm a dumbass bitch.
And then Wes tries to like hug her, and she like passes him by and goes to make like soda water or whatever. And then Ben tries, and he goes in and tries to help her with the soda machine. He's like, do you know how to work it? She says, yes. He says, how you doing? She says, not good. And then Wes goes back into the bedroom and into the bathroom to talk to Kyle once more. And it's just a lot, guys. It's a lot. It's one hell of a day, and it's one hell of a night. And thank you for bearing with me because these are, like I said, these are all the breadcrumbs, and it's all important. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it in here. And so, you know, gotta have it in here. And we're not even halfway through the episode. That's what blows my mind. I mean, this has got to be the longest one ever. And so thanks again. Just bear with me, okay? And so I can't show you each and every clip. So I got to show you the breadcrumbs. And so I got to tell you what was said and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so West is back in the bathroom, and Kyle is saying to him, he said, you know, she's spent more time with you than she has with me in the past, like, 6 months. You know what I mean? And Wes is like, okay. And then Amanda comes back in, and she's over it, and everybody's drunk and tired. And so she shuts the lights out. She's ready to go to bed. And, yeah, she leaves them talking in the bathroom. And it's lights out for Amanda. And West and Kyle keep on talking, and it's more of just like, Kyle's like, dude, she like said fuck you, so I said fuck you back, man, you know? And Wes is like, yeah, but she didn't say fuck you, man. And he's like, dude, it's always fuck you, all right, man? Like, you don't even understand. You don't see what happens. And it's just more whining and more whining and more whining. And so Kyle's like, oh, I'll just sleep in another fucking bed. I don't give a shit. Yeah. And goes back into the bathroom and he's like, if you guys can't all see that, like, she fucking hates me, then you're blind, I'm blind, we're all blind. She fucking hates me and blah, blah, blah. And he just keeps going on and on and on. And finally, Wes has had enough and he's leaving the bathroom. But this is what's important. He goes, hey, psst, Amanda, like as if, to see if she had passed out yet. And then he says, I love you. And then Amanda says, I'm sorry. And then he says, well, text me if you need anything. Good night. And finally, the night is over. My God, you guys, that was long, and I'm so sorry to put you through that. But as you can see, it was very hard to get all of that in. And these are all receipts. I mean, everything that they say, they have to be accounted for and be accountable for later on, right? Because otherwise, none of this would mean anything. But because we have this affair going on, all of this has to be receipts for later on. And so it's the next morning, thank God, hallelujah. And I had to put something sweet in here so we can get our sanity back. You know what I'm saying? And so here's Lindsay, and she's on the phone with her daughter Gemma, and they're FaceTiming. Oh, so cute. Oh, no. These two again. I'm so spent from last night. I don't even want to hear what they have to say. Okay, definitely not. And actually, I don't even think they said anything. I think Carl comes into the room, and then they end up going to the gym. And so now it's just the girls at the house. And Mia and Sierra are doing the bed bug thing. And Mia brings up the fact that she's very thankful and grateful that Sierra brought up the interracial conversation and the Black experience conversation. And the fact that there's now 3 Black cast members and all of that. And so Mia says, and I also appreciated that our fellow cast members gave us room to have the conversation and say what we feel without interjecting and like talking over us and trying to tell us how we should feel or not feel. And then Sierra says that at this point in her life and in the world that we live in today, it's imperative for her and it's essential that if she's going to have interracial friendships and relationships with people of other cultures and other races, that they need to understand her experience as a Black woman in America, or any country for that matter, because obviously it's a different experience. And Sierra is the type of person where she takes her friendships and her relationships very seriously. And so if anybody's going to get close to her, they have to hear her, they have to see her, and they have to understand her. And what that consists of is having the hard conversations at times, and talking about things that are uncomfortable. So let me break this down for you real quick, okay? If I'm a Black woman and I have a white friend and something happens to me today where somebody says a racial slur against me and I want to bring that up to my white friend because she's a close friend of mine, but I can't in fear that it's going to make her uncomfortable, we can't be friends. You know what I mean? And so God bless you, Sierra, because I see you, girl, and I hear you, and I can relate. And so somebody got to say it, right? And so, yeah, thanks. And wow, guys, I did not expect this. This is turning out to be a very long episode. A lot has happened in a very, very few short minutes. And so once again, thanks for bearing with me. But I couldn't leave any of this stuff out. It's all the good stuff. A lot of good stuff happened in this episode. And I might have to make another part, you know what I mean? Because my teeny tiny phone can only hold so much gigabytes, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I'm invested now, so we'll see what happens. And so here's Lindsay and Amanda, and they're chilling in the kitchen. And obviously Lindsay heard kind of through the grapevine that some stuff happened last night because she went to bed early. So she's asking Amanda what happened. And Amanda tells her what happened between her and Kyle. And she basically just says that he was mean to her, you know what I mean? That he was drunk and he was just cursing at her and calling her out her name. And I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see that Amanda's checked out, dude. She's like checked out. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said it from episode 1. I said she's over it, And even if I didn't know what I knew about her and West, I mean, this has been going on for seasons and seasons. I mean, anybody who's watched the show will know that it's like Amanda's gone already, And so it's crazy to me that they have a whole nother show called In the City. Where what? It's just going to show like more of their deterioration of their marriage? Like the gig is up, their marriage is already deteriorated, right? And so how did they even survive another show? I don't understand, and I'm not going to watch that shit. It's just more of the same stuff, except there'll be some breadcrumbs for sure, you know what I mean? So, for that reason, yeah. And then maybe I'd like to see Lindsay date a little bit. I mean, she is a single mom. And, they have Danielle on the show, and they have, what's the Italian guy's name again? Andre or some shit. So, maybe I will watch the show. Okay. You pulled my leg. Or I don't know. Actually, drop down in the comments. Should I? You guys let me know. And so Lindsay basically says, because, now Lindsay is the voice of reason, and she's Mother Hubbard for real now. She basically tells Amanda, she says, I really don't like it when Kyle treats you that way and when he speaks to you that way, no matter what's going on between you two. And Amanda's like, yeah, I know, but it's Kyle's birthday today. Oh, shit. Are you for real? No, we have a birthday? If last night wasn't bad enough, like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Oh, God. I don't even know if I can do it, guys. I don't even know if I can do it. Oh, Lord. So Amanda's like, look, we got to celebrate Kyle's birthday. So we're just going to have to put this to the side for now, and let's get happy and celebratory. And then just quickly, here's Sierra and Mia again. They're still talking, and Mia brings up the whole Kyle and Amanda thing. And she's like, what the hell's going on with that? Because obviously Sierra knows them, and Mia doesn't really know them that well. And so Sierra's like, yeah, look, I know that they're both of them are not perfect. And, I've watched them over the years, and their relationship is tough. But the one thing I can't stand is when Kyle gets like that, and he talks about and speaks to Amanda that way. And so now it's a little later, and now KJ has arrived at the house, and Lindsay is helping him unpack all the groceries and like the party stuff. And so they're basically, you know how they do, now they're like getting prepared and getting set up for the party. And so Lindsay's asking KJ how everything's going with Dara, and are they exclusively dating or what's the deal? And KJ says yes. And then Lindsay says, huh. And, and then here's when Lindsay stirs the pot, of course. But in fairness, it's not her info. She's just relaying the message. And she said that last week, she got together with Bailey and Levi, and that Bailey told her that she saw Dara go into Ben's room and she didn't come out for like a couple hours. And to add insult to injury, she went in with a certain outfit with the Halloween costume on or whatever, the medieval times thing, and she came back out of the room with a different outfit. So you can only imagine what KJ must be thinking. And so then Lindsay apologizes, and she's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, and KJ's like, yeah, I'm already in my head, and I'm already nervous about Derek coming to the party. Now I got to be thinking about this. Thanks, Lindsay. And so Sierra's outside with the boys. I believe it's Ben, Jesse, and West. And Ben brings up the fact, kind of adding to what Jesse had said at the dinner a few episodes ago about how Kyle didn't invest in Carl's business. And the reason for that being is that Kyle has been having some business troubles. And then Wes says that just a couple of days ago, he got together with Kyle and that he told him everything. And what the fuck are you doing getting together with Kyle? I don't get that. I mean, if I'm banging your wife, I'm not going to like hang out with you. I mean, this is just so diabolical. And it further shows that like Wes doesn't give a shit about anybody on this show. You know what I mean? He just wants a little bit of TV time. And maybe some clout, as the kids say. And so, yeah, Kyle tells West everything about his business and what's going on, and that basically he's in the hole and that he might owe some investors some money or something like that, and that his business, it's possible his business could tank in about 6 months. And then that conversation turns into Jesse basically saying, so, well, if Kyle's going through all that stress with his business, maybe that's why he's taking it out on Amanda. And then Sierra says that, she feels for them, because she's been watching them over the years in the past seasons. And she doesn't think that either one of them is perfect by any means, but she really doesn't like the way that Kyle deals with things and the way that he treats Amanda and talks to her when he gets drunk, in front of everybody at the house. And then Sierra says that she talked to Amanda and that she suggested to her that maybe they should have a separation. And although I do think Sierra is giving good, healthy advice, I still think it's just my opinion, but I think it's one step closer to divorce. Oh, and here comes Dara. I don't know about you guys, but I like Dara. She's like a breath of fresh air. And here's KJ being a gentleman and helping her with her bags. This time going to his room and not to Ben's. And then she goes outside to say hello to everyone. And ew, she goes to hug West. I mean, I guess, because they're friends. But I noticed that West, when she went in for the hug, West kissed her on top of her head. Like, I don't know. I've seen him do this a few times now. So, like, what? Is this like his thing? Is this what he does to all the girls? Ew, gross. Ah. And then she goes to hug Ben, and I was really looking to see if there was like any awkwardness there or anything, and there wasn't. No, she's made up her mind. She likes KJ. And speaking of KJ, he's feeling a little bit anxious because of the whole Dara situation. So he goes to talk to Sierra and Mia, which it's kind of like mirrors his sisters at home, right? So these are kind of like his two sisters away from home. And of course, they give him great advice as usual. And they tell him that he just needs to relax, you know what I mean, and not overthink it. And then they do like these breathing exercises or whatever to help with the anxiety and to like help calm him down, which I thought was so cute. And then they hug it out and I just thought this was a cute moment. Anyway, and then KJ goes back up to the room to talk to Dara and also to get dressed for the party. And he confronts Dara about what Bailey said to Lindsay about her going into Ben's room for a little while. And he tells her that, he started to like her and he likes her. And that, he was concerned because he was thinking that maybe now she likes Ben and that's making him feel a certain type of way. And then Dara shuts that down and explains to him that she likes him and that she's not interested in Ben. But she was, in the beginning, maybe feeling it out a little bit. But now she's made up her mind. And she's a little frustrated and angry because she doesn't know why Bailey would say that or where she would get that information. Because according to her, she just went into the room and she did get changed, I guess, or whatever. And she said that was it. And that was all. And there was no flirting going on. And she wasn't in there for hours. And I told you, I already gave my opinion that from what I saw, from what the viewers see from that clip, it looked like they were being a little bit flirty. You know what I mean? I mean, she was sitting on the bed with him. She was sitting pretty close. So, you know what I mean? But that's all we saw. It was just a tiny little clip. So, you know what? I believe Dara. And yeah, I'm rooting for this relationship, actually. And so the party's getting started and everybody's in their costumes now. And the theme is, for Kyle's birthday, is old, aged, aging. So I love it, man. I love their theme parties, man. And I can't get enough. So everybody's in their costumes now. And I guess everybody's in their 70s or 80s, maybe. I don't know. And then here's Kyle in his costume, and he's about 90. But we'll get more into him later. And there she is. Yes, my girl. You know her. You love her. Miss Karma Brown. That's right, from like 3 summers ago. And now she's aged. And she still look good, baby, okay? And look at Mia. She looks good. And she's like, is that my sister? Miss Adame, is that you, girl? Nah, man, that be Miss Karma Brown, girl. And then everyone is absolutely shocked and stunned over Sierra's costume. But look at West. I guess he's supposed to be like Mrs. Doubtfire or something like that. And then look at Carl and Jesse in the background, twinning. They look like they could be brothers, I think Jesse should switch his name with Kyle, right? Kyle should really be named Jesse, right? Because he's more of a Jesse. And Jesse should be named Kyle. That way it could be Kyle and Carl. You know what I mean? The twin brothers or whatever. I don't know. Call me crazy. It's just an observation. And then Carl comes over and he plays into the whole thing. He's like, I'm sorry, I've never met you before. What's your name? And she's like, Carl, it's me, baby. You don't recognize me? It's Miss Karma Brown. I just aged a little bit. It's no worries. I can still move with the best of them, sugar. And Kyle's like, wow, that is the best costume I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, you ain't lying. And you don't look too bad yourself there, Kyle. You definitely look old. And there goes Lindsay, and she's looking for a sugar daddy. But you know what, Lindsay? I think you're past the age to be a sugar baby now. And so they have a cheers to Kyle and his birthday and to being old and retired, but actually not retired because they still have to work. And so happy birthday, Kyle. And he takes a shot and he's like, I hope this doesn't fuck with my dialysis. And the old jokes keep coming throughout the day. And so here's Mia and Amanda. Oh my God, they look great. And Mia's like, okay, Miss Amanda, let me tell you why this old chicken crossed the road. Do you know why? Amanda's like, no. Well, me neither, honey, because halfway across, I forgot. And you know who Amanda looks like? Did you guys ever see the movie where Jessica Biel plays Candy? You know, about the woman who's an axe murderer? You know, it's a true story, actually, by the way. But doesn't she look like her? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a good movie, by the way. You should check it out. Yeah, she kills her best friend with an axe after banging her husband. Yeah, true story. But don't worry, Amanda's not going to kill Sierra. You know what I mean? And not Miss Karma Brown, honey. Miss Karma Brown can take her any day, all right? And then here's West, good old Wesley. And he's definitely in his element, which means he's surrounded by chicks. And aw, here's Kyle licking his wife's face. It's cute, though. And so here's West and Jesse, and they're having a conversation. And guess what they're talking about? That's right, you guessed it. Kyle and Amanda. And this is an interesting conversation because they're both coming from very different standpoints, and they're talking over each other. And so, so Jesse's coming at it from a hopeful standpoint because he doesn't really know them as well as West does, and he thinks that they can work it out. And West, obviously knowing them very well, including Amanda, he's coming at it from a different standpoint where he's like, basically, he's like, you don't ever look at Kyle and Amanda and say, oh yeah, I get it. I get why they're together, kind of thing. And Jesse's like, look, you know, I've seen shit go down in relationships and I don't think it's that bad. I think they can work it out. And West is like, no, they're going to implode. Yeah. And so I had to put this in here. You know, it was a long conversation, but, you know, these are receipts, guys. These are receipts. And these are actual receipts because at the reunion, part 1 and 2, if you've seen it already, they actually reference this comment that Wes makes right here in his confessional. And so I'm going to show you the clip right now. And so you're welcome.
I've witnessed nothing that would ever make up for, like, what she went through last night. Also, if I see someone give a nice gift to someone, it's because they're probably in every other way possible. Like in Wolf of Wall Street, when he starts banging hookers every day is when he buys her yacht. Gifts are bad.
Really, Wes? Really? The Wolf of Wall Street? Okay. And that's the end of episode 8. And thank God, my God, that was a long one. There was a lot going on in that episode. I think that was probably the longest episode ever. And so now we go into episode 9, and we are still at the party. And can I just say that I fucking love Lindsay? Huh? I mean, she's a boozy bitch if I ever seen one, just like me. And she is plowing it in that wheelchair scooter thing with her Corona. Come on. Yeah, we love Lindsay. It's just that simple. Out, get it, get it, get it, out, get it, get it, get it. Who the fuck are these people? Just a bunch of randoms. And get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, candy. Get it, candy. Get it, get it, get it, candy. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Oh, wait, it's your husband's birthday. It's your husband's birthday. Get it, candy. Get it. get it, get it, and get it, Kyle. Get it, Kyle. Get it, get it, get it, Kyle. Motorboat them boobies. Motorboat them boobies. Motorboat them boobies. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday, Kyle. And get it, Jesse. And get it, Jesse. I get it, I get it, I get it, Jesse. And go, Wesley. Go, Wesley. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Go, Miss Doubtfire. Go, Miss Doubtfire. Get it, get it, get it. Okay, I'm done. And here's another conversation between the real OGs. Instead of old original gangsters, it's just old guys now. Yeah. And so it's Kyle and Carl. And yeah, you know, it's always funny when people have serious conversations in their costumes. Yeah, Bravo loves that, don't they? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the theme, right? Like on all the Bravo shows, they either like get into a real serious conversation or they get into like a knockout, drag out fight in costume. And here's Carl in his costume, and he's getting ready to bring up the conversation of finance and how, you know, he's a little hurt that Kyle didn't invest in his soft bar idea because way back when, Carl invested in Loverboy, which is Kyle's business, right? So they have that conversation, and basically Kyle is explaining to him that he would have invested in soft bar, but, you know, his company is tanking, and he tells him why. And so basically Kyle makes it clear that he doesn't have the money to invest, right? But then he says something kind of contradictory, and he says, well, if you want me to, I can give you the 15 grand that, you know, you gave me. And which I thought was kind of shady because it's like, number one, you just got finished saying how you don't have the money. And now you're basically throwing Carl under the bus by exposing how much he invested in your business, which was 15 grand, right? Which is a small number for them, but not for us, right? You know, I mean, that is a big number, but it's a small number in terms of like Loverboy is worth millions, right? So, well, not millions, but like a couple mil. And then in my opinion, I think Carl throws a little bit of that shade back to him, right? By saying, well, you know, if all goes south with your business, you know, at least you have Amanda. Which, I mean, come on, you know that they're having issues. So I don't know. I think that was shady. But then Kyle responds and basically tells him, listen, you know, I don't know if Amanda and I, we're not in a good place, and I don't know what's going to happen with us, you know. So business doing bad, marriage doing bad. Yeah, he's in a bad place right now. But I'll tell you who's in a good place right now, and that's Lindsay. Yep, she is living her best life, except she is looking for a sugar daddy. And so Jesse decides to help her in that area. And so he points out some random dude that looks like a nerd. Maybe he could be the next Elon Musk. Who knows? But his name is Brandon. And yeah, he's good friends with Carl. And so automatically that is a no for Lindsay, okay? But I don't know, Lindsay. I mean, he could still have money. He could be one of Carl's investors. So I wouldn't throw him away just yet. And so here goes the weak version of the conversation that Wes said he was going to have with Kyle about how he treats Amanda and how he speaks to her when he gets drunk. And that when Kyle said, fuck you, it was unprovoked, that Amanda didn't do anything, and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then Kyle says that he knows that it was wrong and he feels bad, but that he still feels neglected, and he was just jealous that she was having a much better time with everybody else than she was with him. And here goes the Golden Girls, just sitting around chatting. And they're concerned for Amanda, you know, for two reasons. Because now that they know that Kyle's business Loverboy is in shambles, they're wondering that since Amanda doesn't have a prenup, they're wondering how much of that responsibility falls on her. And Amanda says that she doesn't really have the answer for that because when Kyle put up the money to invest in Loverboy, he did it first and then told her after. So... And also, Amanda says that she doesn't know anything about business, right? And that Kyle was the one that went to business school and that she just does art or some shit. And then the second reason why they're concerned is because obviously they see the way that Kyle speaks to Amanda. And Sierra, aka Miss Karma Brown, tells Amanda that she is really uncomfortable with the way that Kyle just can casually say, fuck you. And that as her friend, she's genuinely concerned. And if that's the way that Kyle can speak to her in public, she wonders how he speaks to her behind closed doors. And then basically Amanda says, yeah, he does speak like that to her behind closed doors, and she's used to it by now. And so this is where Sierra brings up the fact that maybe it would be a good idea if they had a separation, you know what I mean? Because if things are this bad, that maybe this would be the next step. And then Lindsay chimes in and she says, you know what? I think maybe Kyle needs to feel what it feels like to be without you for a little while. And then Amanda gets emotional, and basically they end the conversation where Sierra was like, listen, we're here for you. And if you need to stay a night or two at my house, I'm here. And I just want to point it out that once again, Sierra is like a really good friend to Amanda, and obviously this makes me really even more upset, right? Is because I don't care how you felt about West, okay? And I don't even think you were in love, but let's say you were. Even if you were in love or head over heels, it's like, why would you do this to your friend? I mean, the way that she had feelings for West, and what the current situation was. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand how your feelings would override a good friendship like this for somebody that doesn't give a shit about you in exchange for Sierra, who genuinely cares about you and your well-being and your life. Crazy. And speaking of crazy, here comes Grandmama Lindsay scooting through the party trying to get folks to go home. I love this. I really do. Look at her with that microphone. She's like, you better get out of here, honey. All right? And if there's any sugar daddies in here, you can stay. You can stay. And you know what? I think this is my favorite party. I loved this night. I really did. It was like, I loved the theme. I loved the fact that they really had fun. That's why I tried to show a little bit of the fun. I mean, they were dancing, it wasn't all drama, and so, yeah, this was my favorite party. Up, and here's Miss Karma Brown, and wave goodbye, because that's the last time you're ever going to see her. Yeah, oh well. And she's scooting through the party as well, practically running over folks, trying to get them to leave. And she's like, okay, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. And so the party's over, and they're all winding down, and basically they're getting out of their gear and their costumes, and Jesse and Amanda are talking here, and Jesse basically tells Amanda, because he bore witness to the conversation that West had with Kyle. He was there. And the reason why I say that was a weak conversation is because West had these grand plans of telling him X, Y, and Z, and then when the conversation came down to it, he basically stumbled and fumbled over his words. So that's why I say that. But anyway, so Jesse is telling Amanda that basically West stuck up for her. How ironic. And that he was telling Kyle that he's got to apologize to you and that he's got to talk to you differently, and that no matter what your guys' issues are, that he shouldn't speak to you that way. And meanwhile, while that's going on, guess who's flirting with Sierra in the pool? Of course, Wesley. So, now you can see why Sierra isn't crazy. Well, we didn't think she was crazy, but in thinking that West could be interested in her, And then here's Kyle in his favorite place to be, his home, the DJ booth, where he spent the entire summer. And now he's got Sierra's fake boobs on and they're bouncing to the beat. I thought that was funny. And so now everybody's out of their costumes, and they've washed their faces and showered and whatnot, except for Kyle. Yeah. And he still wants to go out, and some of them are going out, but Amanda immediately says no, because she says, you're the only one, you can't go out with the face full of makeup like that. And he was completely annihilated, which was true. And he agreed. So they ended up in the bedroom. And then here's Amanda, helping to wash the makeup off of Kyle's face, because apparently it's really caked on. But anyway, see, I mean, she's been doing this over the seasons and the summers, right? We've watched her basically take care of Kyle, especially when he's drunk. And, let's not forget that she's not sober either. You know what I mean? I mean, she drinks too, but she just doesn't act the way that Kyle acts, And then they have another conversation, but this time they want to seek therapy. They think that they should go to therapy, which obviously, hello, hallelujah. So yeah, this is kind of like the last resort, this is the make it or break it time, you know what I mean? And obviously I'm a big advocate for therapy, it really does work. And, but you have to want it to work and you have to do the work, you know what I'm saying? And so, if they do that, then it can help. And if not, and then you got to have the right therapist, of course. But if it doesn't work, then you split up. And so I think that's a good idea, obviously. And so the night ends with Kyle and Amanda snugly passed out in their bed, and while the boys talk shit about them downstairs. Yeah. And so that's it for part 2 of the Summer House Season 10 recap. And stay tuned for part 3 because we are still on episode 9 and there is so much more still to cover. And more breadcrumbs. So subscribe to my channel and turn your notifications on so that you'll know when part 3 and 4 drop. Okay? And don't forget to like the video. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.